K8e and I spent a year living in a condo owned by a crime syndicate. Fighting them in court was exhausting, but we found unexpected allies in the couple who owned the condo below us, Maria and John. When the time came to escape, moving into their condo seemed like a natural solution. What could go wrong? At first, Maria was hesitant. She hated the owners of our former condo as much as we did, and merely tolerated our presence. But eventually, we formed a bond, and moving downstairs felt like a fresh start. This essay intersects with other stories I could tell about the meth head squatters who moved into the unit we vacated, but this is about Maria and John, the landlords who turned our lives into a mix of comedy and chaos. When we first moved in, John was the HOA president. He paid me $200 a month to clean up trash, and he had just repainted the outside of the condos a startling redwood brown and neon green. The inside was equally bizarre, creamsicle orange on the top half of the walls, pudding brown on the bottom, and a strip of pastel yellow in between. K8e hated it immediately. Orange was her least favorite color, and suddenly it was everywhere. Soon after, John stepped down as HOA president and washed his hands of most responsibilities. Maria took over handling rent and repairs. Though she wasn't thrilled with us initially, we developed a quick friendship. Maria treated us with warmth, bringing snacks when she visited and checking in to make sure we weren't struggling. She was unlike any landlord I'd ever had, and we gave her an open invitation to drop by whenever she pleased. However, Maria's inexperience as a landlord quickly became apparent. The meth den above us caused frequent damage, and while Maria tried her best, the repairs were often delayed by John's constant interference. He'd demand input on our plans, delaying solutions for weeks. It was frustrating, but we tolerated it until things got extreme. The turning point came when our dining room ceiling collapsed. The floor of the meth den now served as our ceiling, but when the water heater broke during a snowstorm, John's behavior became unbearable. By law, landlords in Oregon have 24 hours to repair or replace a broken water heater. John claimed he'd bought one, but repeatedly failed to show up. His excuses ranged from being too busy to an outlandish story about armed gangsters chasing him out of the parking lot. We'd been watching the lot all day. It was empty. I bombarded him with calls and texts pleading for action. His responses grew more absurd. At one point, he suggested K8e shower at a random neighbor's place, someone she'd never met. Meanwhile, Maria had to call in a friend to make the emergency repair, days after the heater first broke. During this ordeal, John sent me an email saying it was time for us to move and offered a good reference. When I pointed out that emailing a 90-day notice was legally invalid, his tone flipped. Suddenly, I was a horrible tenant who wouldn't allow repairs. His chaotic energy was exhausting, and it became clear something was amiss. A few weeks later, Maria texted me out of the blue. John had filed for divorce, thrown out her belongings, and moved onto a boat. She was blindsided. He later admitted he'd antagonized us on purpose to sour our relationship with Maria. The fallout of their drama and their negligence continues to affect us. A year after the ceiling collapse, it still hasn't been repaired. The meth den remains an issue, and the burden of contacting government agencies, property management, and the HOA has fallen entirely on me. Maria, despite her kindness, has let us live this way without consequence. I've realized I've enabled this dynamic. Because of Maria's maternal nature, I've hesitated to hold her accountable. As someone who lost my own mother, I responded to her kindness with loyalty, even as I endured unlivable conditions. But kindness doesn't fix ceilings, and it doesn't excuse neglect. Yesterday, the city code enforcement officer knocked on my door, flanked by police. Last time they came, I defended Maria and John. This time I told the truth. I showed them the state of the unit, the missing ceiling, the ongoing damage, and let them document everything. We're now contacting lawyers to figure out our rights. I don't want to be spiteful, but I've spent too long protecting a condo I don't even own. Maria and John expect rent every month, but haven't fought to protect this home the way I have. It's absurd, and I'm ashamed I let myself be manipulated for so long. We deserve peace. We deserve landlords who follow the law. And after a year of chaos, it's time to demand the change we've been denied.